Hello, hello, Wellness Circle. I hope everyone is doing super great today. So I had three people, one in the yoga class I taught this morning, one via Messenger, and then another one face-to-face personally ask me about carpal tunnel. So if I get three like that right in a row, that tells me it's probably something we need to know. And it's actually a really good topic because as much as we are all in front of keyboards and computer screens and all the things, and even, make sure I don't call anybody, thumb texting on our iPhones and other various devices, we are in an environment where inflammation and repetitive use leads us to carpal tunnel troubles. So today we are going to talk about carpal tunnel. We're going to talk about, and just briefly, because normally I like to schedule these so you guys can come on and chat and talk with me and ask questions. So definitely come back and put your questions in the box and I'll come back and answer them. But we're going to talk about carpal tunnel, sort of what it is. Carpal tunnel syndrome is essentially inflammation, right? It's inflammation in our wrists. The carpal tunnel is a little passageway between ligaments and bones, and the nerve, median and radial and ulnar nerve, run right through that little passageway, right? And so what happens is it gets inflamed and it closes the space. It's kind of a lumen. It closes the space down because the tissues around it get swollen. So instead of being here, we're here, right? And so what happens is that when the nerve is compressed, it causes pain. Now, lots and lots and lots of different things can cause that. It can be overuse, right? It can be stress on the tendon and ligament from overuse, typing, repetitive movement injury type thing that happens with use over time. Usually that's from extending the wrist too much or keeping it in a fixed position too often. So it looks like I'm doing bear claws, but this is me typing on a keyboard, elbows out. So sometimes it's that, sometimes it's genetics. If someone in your family has had carpal tunnel syndrome, nerve damage, arthritis, similar conditions, you generally have a higher chance of having the same problem. Sometimes it's a middle-aged woman thing, so it can be related to hormonal changes. It can be related to both hormonal changes from like pregnancy and that sort of thing to hormonal changes like menopause because it causes a shift in estrogen levels, which tends to worsen or lessen swelling, which we know that carpal tunnel is swelling of the tissues. And also could be from a secondary condition like diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, thyroid disorders, which we all know that those are autoimmune conditions. And so they stem from an inflammation base and a leaky gut base. It can also be, weight related in some cases. So what do we do for carpal tunnel? Well, it kind of depends on the cause, but you can do things that will benefit your whole body, carpal tunnel included, and sort of play and see what works, right? Use your intuition, take what resonates, and leave what doesn't. So the first thing to do is rest. Rest your wrists, right? So if you type all day, perhaps you need a wrist guard, right? But only wear it during your typing activities. Maybe you need to reduce those typing activities. Google has a really great, like Google Drive. I can talk or dictate my blog articles now, and it even understands my kind of weird, grew up in East Texas, lived in the North for a minute, now I live in Dallas type accent. It gets me. And so that can be, using tools like that to your advantage can help with this type of inflammation. The second thing to do is correct your posture, correct your wrist posture, and do some exercises. And I'm going to show you those here towards the end of this video. The third thing, of course, is fix your nutrition, right? So anything that you put into your body is either going to help or hurt you. And that's cool. It doesn't matter, just know that that's your choice. So you want to make sure you're eating plenty of fresh vegetables, you're eating some fruit. If you're taking omega-3s, you need to be taking omega. If you're not taking omega-3s, you need to be taking omega-3s. But if you're taking them and you're closer to the 3,000 milligram mark, or gosh, below that, then you want to increase to the 5,000 milligram mark. And also make sure that you're getting enough B vitamins so that your body has the tools to reduce that inflammation naturally. So the supplements, so omega-3s, right? And then B complex, magnesium, bromelain, and ginkgo biloba, all helpful for carpal tunnel syndrome. You also want to make sure that you're supporting your body, right? So you can use certain oils to support the skeletal system. So you can mix wintergreen and cypress with coconut oil and rub it on the area. You can use Panaway, Young Living's Panaway, mix it with coconut oil, rub it on the area to help support the skeletal system and the tendons and ligaments. So there's a few, the traditional treatment, of course, is surgical often, but I've found that a lot of people, in fact, everyone that I've worked with, save one person, that has found really great relief using a combination of supplements, nutrition, and then when you start doing the exercises, you can start reducing the supplementation that is just for the inflammation. So the official announcement hasn't been made yet, but the online yoga studio is set to open sometime between April and May. So the full Yoga for Carpal Tunnel video will be there, but I want to show you some of the exercises, if I can in this frame, show you some of the exercises that you can do to help. The first thing you want to do is warm up the wrist. My very favorite way to do this is, it's kind of like jazz hands. And so you just make your fist, and the way I would actually have you do it is up over your head, right, with your shoulders away from your ears. Elbows can be slightly bent, but I'm going to bring my hands down, which you could do it this way too. But if you do it with your arms up, you're also working on your posture in your back, right? So then you're going to flex and open your hands. So it's not like a jazz fingers, but it's a strong flex and open your hand. And you're going to do that for about 30 seconds. Now, most people are like, oh yeah, no big deal, whatever, I can do this. Until they get about 5 to 10 seconds in, and they're like, holy cow. By the time you work your way up to 30 seconds, you're going to feel that all the way down into your wrist, maybe close to your elbow. Your forearm muscles are going to be quite burning. And that's okay. And you don't have to go for 30 seconds. Whatever you can do, do it. And then if you're not quite to 30 seconds, stop and do 10 more seconds, right? And so that really, really works to warm up the wrist. Now, your wrists are going to be on fire after this, and not in a bad way. So then I want you to clasp your hands together, and I want you to draw figure eights with your clasped hands. Again, when you're doing this, you're keeping your shoulders relaxed away from your ears, your shoulder blades rolled down your back. And you just do this for a few times. And then if you're coordinated enough, which I really have to think about it, go back the other way. Once I get going, I got it. But you want to go both directions. And likely one way will be more challenging than the other. As some of the yoga greats say, one side is dull, one side is sparkly. So you want to do that. Okay, so then after that, we're going to inhale our arms back overhead, right? So I'm going to bring my hands down so that you can see them. Again, on the Yoga for Carpal Tunnel video in the online yoga studio, you'll be able to see the whole thing. It'll all fit in the frame. So this time we're going to open our hands and we're going to twist in and twist out. Now, when you're doing this, notice I'm not twisting the elbow in and out. You want to make sure you keep that motion just in the wrist. I'm trying to figure out this camera so I can do it. And so then you're going to do that for about 30 seconds. And it's okay if you have to do it in 5-second breaks and then stop and then bring it back and then 5-second breaks. Totally, totally fine. Once you do that piece, I want you to make prayer hands at heart center. Let me scoot back a little bit. Prayer hands at heart center, keeping your elbows down. Thumb is going to be right here on your heart chakra. Twist those arms down. So you don't want your hands to come apart, and you don't want your elbows and your shoulders to come out. So you're relaxing your shoulders down. You're pushing together with your hands and twisting those prayer arms down. And maybe here, maybe you feel good sensation here and you stop there, totally fine. Maybe you twist them all the way down. And so you're going to hold that, relaxing the shoulders down. And then release, and then you can shake it out. And then there's one last exercise. The Yoga for Carpal Tunnel video goes into a few more exercises. So it's about a 10-minute wrist practice. Again, you want to do this every day at the beginning of your day. It's a great thing to do just anywhere that you're seated. And you can generally do it without looking too weird, right? So the last thing I want to have you do is something from Forest Yoga. So you're going to, this might be difficult to demonstrate on this frame. You're going to pull your hand down so that you're flat. right? Let me see. I couldn't see the whole me. So you're going to pull your hand down so that you're flat. And then on each finger, you're going to pull it down and then bend it back. This feels amazing for carpal tunnel. So pull it down, bend it back. Now, when you bend it back, you don't want to bend it so far that your fingers start to curl. So you want to bend it only far enough that you can keep your fingers down, okay? So you're going to do each finger on both hands. For carpal tunnel, when you get to these fingers, that's probably when you're really going to feel the release, okay? After that, go back to doing your figure eights, and then you can go the other way. Look, I did it fast. You can go the other way, and then do that a few more times. Shake it out, and you're done. Now, there are a few more tricks that you can do, and I call them tricks, but there are a few more techniques is probably a better way to put it, that you can do. Petrified wood is a crystal that is a crystal. It's not actually a crystal, but it's a tool that you can use to support your skeletal system. So petrified wood, cypress, wintergreen, or you can not blend it yourself and just get something like Panaway. But use this to meditate with. You have it in your space, set it in between you and your keyboard for good healing vibes from that. I told you about the essential oils and then energy medicine techniques. So you can follow the meridians starting with this one. So pinch your first finger and thumb together, and you see how that little muscle pokes out? That's the spot you want to be in. So you just massage it. And you might feel pain, you might not. Pain, more like a sensation. It might be tender. That's a good way to put it. It might be tender, right? And then you just want to keep tracing that back, finding the spot where it might or might not be tender. You do the same thing between these two knuckles. Now, it's not on the bone, it's not on the ligaments, just in between. You'll find that little valley, that pocket. Give it a little mash, and then move to the next pocket. And keep tracing those energy lines, those meridians down, all the way to maybe your elbow. So when you get to the elbow, you just squeeze both sides. And I don't have any tenderness here, so that means it's all flowing nicely this direction. No tenderness at all. And you can keep following those lines all the way up to the neurolymphatic points on your shoulders. So where your arm and your body would kind of be sewn together. So if you were a doll and they were going to sew your arm and body together, where would that be? Not quite in your armpit. More, you can see my shoulder here. So more along the line here. Okay? You can keep tracing those meridians, they call it chasing the pain. Keep chasing the pain until it chases out of your body. You'll find that as you work your way up your arm, generally things in the upper body, the last place you'll trace it to is going to be somewhere in the top of the scalp, somewhere on the head. Things on your lower body, usually you trace them to the K1 point on the bottom of your feet, and it sort of releases it out of your body. That's probably a lot of information for you for this, but I want to make sure that I give you lots of different options, because some things people are like, I can do that. Maybe you can do the stretches, right? And some things you're like, I don't have time for any of that. What can I take? What can I do? The flip side of all the things that I'm telling you about here is that there is conventional treatment for that, being non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. I don't recommend those, but I do understand that some people, that's where you are. Additionally, surgery is an option. The problem with surgery, and you probably hear me say this a lot, is that the problem with this surgery is that, yes, it gives you relief. It fixes the problem for now. However, the reoccurrence is frequent for people who have carpal tunnel if you don't do the work to fix what's causing it. If you don't do the work to heal the body from the roots up and the inside out, then you end up having repeat surgeries. So that's not something you want to do, right? So again, if you have any questions, please put them in the box below and to the side. I'm not sure where it comes up. Leave a comment is what I'm trying to say. If you're catching this on another channel, on YouTube, anywhere else, then leave a comment and I will come find you and answer that for you. I hope you guys will join me later on the Facebook page. We're going to talk about excessive sweating and hyperhidrosis on the Facebook page today. That's at 2 Central. Yeah, so I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Be well.